The Hitachi 10-inch job site table saw with its rolling stand is a new and welcomed addition to the job site. We've been using it now for several weeks on our job site, a screen porch rebuild, and we've got some things to tell you about it. First of all, this new saw has a folding leg and rolling stand that attaches with 4 bolts. It's super easy. It's optional. You can decide whether you want to use the stand or not. But I really do think that if you get your hands on the saw with the stand, you'll agree it's a real nice addition to the saw. You don't have to set it up on anything. It's just good to go. The saw itself, it's powerful. It's got a direct drive 15 amp motor that spins at 4,500 RPMs. It has a soft start motor with an electric brake that really stops that blade super fast. It's powerful. We used it to rip everything on our job site from shim stock all the way up through framing and LVL stock with 0 issues. The tabletop is aluminum. It measures 28 3/4 by 22. And there is an outfeed table that slides out on the back side of the table for additional supportive material. And that's 28 3/4 by 2 inches. We found it difficult to slide out. I had to lube it a couple times. It's really not that long, so it doesn't give you a huge difference in ripping. It does help a little bit. If it weren't already a super light table saw, I'd probably just remove that outfeed table to shave a few pounds off or ounces. The throat plate has 4 set screws in the tabletop that adjust that throat plate, and there is a finger button in the plate that allows you to unlock and lock the plate without tools. It's spring-loaded. I really like this finger lock. It's secure, toolless, and it's a nice touch. It's not going to come loose. It's really secure. The depth of cut and bevel. The Hitachi 10-inch table saw can bevel between 0 and 45 degrees. The depth of cut at 0 is 3 1/8 of an inch, and when you set that saw to 45, you can cut at 2 1/4. Both the bevel scale and the bevel height adjustment knobs for the blade are on the front of the saw's front panel. Easy to see and access. It's right there. It's right where the scale is. It's real easy to use. This saw will accept a dado blade, an 8 by 13/16 blade. There is a 3-position riving knife to prevent binding and kickbacks. And next to the fence, I think the riving knife is probably my favorite feature of this saw. Let's talk about the power switch. I like the Hitachi power switch. There is a covered power switch. It's a large, oversized, red emergency off power switch with a cutout where you can push the on button. So you don't have to lift the switch, but you can hit it with your knee if you need to bump it or something to turn the saw off. It's designed to be accessed, I guess, with your knee in case of an emergency. You're trying to control the saw and you can hit it with your knee. Nice touch. It has a power cutoff and an overload protection. And the overload protects the saw from current overload situations and helps prevent damage to the saw's motor. The fence. The fence on the Hitachi saw is excellent. We found it smooth, really smooth, and solid. The fence release lever, it's on the lower right-hand side. It's the opposite action as my DeWalt saw that I'm used to. So up locks it instead of releases it, and down, so on. So it screwed me up at first, but I'm sure as I use the saw more and more, I get more hours on the saw, I'll get, it'll get more reps in, I'll be better with it. The rip scale is adjustable and easy to read. It was accurate right out of the box, which, as we all know, is a rare find. There is no scale to the left of the blade. This saw reminds me a little bit about like the DeWalt's rack and pinion fence. It's just not as good. It's good, but it's not as good as the DeWalt fence. The fence does telescope out to provide 35 inches of rip capacity to the right, and you can get it to the left at 22 inches to the left. It's really smooth and accurate, so I'm not trying to downsell it. It's a nice fence. The fence has a rotation feature that allows the fence to rotate 90 degrees down, and as it slid out past the tabletop, it provides a support ledge for ripping material and supporting your material, like an extension of the table. DeWalt does the same thing. A lot of guys, manufacturers will do that. The folding stand is stable and durable. It sets up and breaks down really nice, and the legs are angled perfectly to provide stability when you're trying to hold that large sheet goods and you're pushing it through the table saw. You're not going to risk tipping the machine. It's really stable. The folding legs lock into position with these spring-loaded pins, and They're okay, I like them, but I'd really like to see an easier way to open and close those pins. Sometimes they can be difficult to open and manipulate with your fingers, with gloves even. I'd like to see some sort of a lever, very similar to what DeWalt uses on their folding work stands. The legs and assembly are all lightweight aluminum. And we wish that Hitachi had added a leg leveling feature to maybe one or two of the legs just to kind of help, but it's okay. The stand has 8-inch rubber all-terrain wheels that easily maneuver around the job site, and when folded up and stood upright, the whole assembly is only 19 inches deep, which is great if you're going to put it in your van or your trailer. It weighs 96 pounds. You can grab it from the sides, pick it right up, piece of cake. Let's talk about dust collection. The Hitachi 10-inch table saw has excellent dust collection. The system seals the saw cavity and allows a vacuum a chance to suction out the dust from below the table. And then on the back side of the table, there's a 2.5-inch dust port that allows the connection of most shop vacuums. When used with the vacuum, it did an amazing job at keeping dust down. And when not used with the vacuum, the saw just shoots it right out the back of the dust port. It really does a good job at pushing it through. The Hitachi 10-inch table saw sells online for about $399. That was the best price I saw. Overall, our crew felt that the Hitachi table saw was well designed, powerful, reasonably quiet, and cut well. It was night and day better than other Hitachi table saws we've seen in the past. It's a definite competitor with the DeWalt DWE 7491 saw, and while I think that the DeWalt is way better, the Hitachi's pretty darn close, and it's $200 cheaper. Look, having the ability to rip 35 inches to the right and the ability to add a dado blade makes the saw a contender for high-end cabinet work and casework on job sites. You throw a real nice blade on the saw and you are good to go. We highly recommend this Hitachi saw for your job site. Check it out. I'm Rob Robillard. Please consider subscribing to our video channel. Just click that button right there below, and we appreciate your support. See you at the next review.